I know they look innocent, but are these the faces of mass murderers? On this episode of Nintendo Kill Count, we track how many enemies we kill as the adorable Toad and Toadette in our playthrough of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. As is typical of these videos, I will only point out the most interesting aspects of my playthrough before finishing with my final thoughts of the game and the total kill count. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a spin-off from the mainline Mario series originally released on the Wii U before being ported to the Switch. The game plays out over 3 episodes, each containing a series of self-contained 3D levels. Picture that shoebox diorama you made in elementary school, but with pretty Nintendo visuals, and you're on the right track. Whereas mainline 2D Mario games focus on platforming, Captain Toad strips your abilities down to the basics. Instead of racing to an end goal, you slowly traverse the environment to locate the star. Having never played the game before, the first question that needed to be answered was, is it even possible to kill things? Mario's signature murder method is jumping on the heads of his enemies, but Toad can't jump at all. Instead, he has to opt for other options. The first is a modified jump, also known as falling. Dropping off a ledge onto an enemy will kill them, but it's obviously more situational since you have to first find a ledge above an enemy. Another method of dealing out death is with a vegetable responsible for countless fatalities every year in the Mushroom Kingdom, the turnip. Scattered throughout most levels are little green plant sprouts. If plucked from the ground, some contain coins, power-ups, or gems, while others have turnips. Turnips can be thrown at enemies, and for the most part, it's a one-shot, one-kill policy. Another method to kill enemies is with power-ups. Compared to more recent mainline Mario games, Captain Toad has a paltry selection. These include the Double Cherry, which creates a clone of your character, and the Super Pickaxe, which allows you to smash through various environmental obstacles, and also kills most enemies you run into. There are a few more obscure methods of murder, such as using your headlamp to eliminate boos, but this covers the main methods of slaughter. Surprisingly, as I played, there were only 2 instances where I questioned whether or not to count something as a kill. In Sinister Street Signs, the enemy Chargin' Chucks live up to their name and try to charge into you. Nothing will stand in their way, including a bunch of mud troopers which they trample without hesitation. Should these poor mud troopers count towards the final kill count? The Chargin' Chucks are technically the ones racking up the fatalities, but I'm the reason they are so aggressive. I decided not to count these mud troopers as kills, since the reckless, rage-filled behavior of the Chargin' Chucks is ultimately what leads to the friendly fire incidents. And for me, this disregard for coworker safety firmly solidifies Chargin' Chucks as one of the most evil characters in the Mushroom Kingdom. The second thing that caused me confusion was boss battles. I was curious how Captain Toad would handle boss battles since you can't do the typical jump on their head 3 times because, well, you can't jump at all. The game handles boss battles in 2 ways by repeatedly fighting 2 bosses throughout the game, Dragodon and Wingo. The Dragodon fights feature the aforementioned dragon in the middle of the level as you slowly climb a spiral tower around it, while avoiding the fireballs he spews at you. Eventually, you scurry up a ladder and a part of the tower falls on its head, stunning him. The Wingo boss levels are more expansive and take place in a less restrictive environment. The giant bird Wingo flies around manipulating the environment and generally making your life miserable as you try to reach the end of the level. This culminates in a boss battle at the top of the tower among a treasure trove that would make Smog blush. Simply avoid his attacks and throw giant turnips at him until he is defeated. I found the Dragodon fights to be the more enjoyable of the 2, though both were a clever way to tackle boss battles without the ability to jump. Now the difficult question of answering whether or not we actually killed the bosses. Mario games make this particularly challenging to figure out, and Captain Toad is no exception. After finishing the game, I went back and replayed a few boss levels, and it appears that both enemies are simply stunned by our attacks and don't die. Therefore, I'm not going to add either to the final kill count. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised by what Captain Toad Treasure Tracker had to offer. As stated in previous episodes, I'm not the biggest fan of platformers, so tweaking the usual Mario formula to focus more on puzzles really appealed to me. While the puzzles aren't ever brain burners, what I love about this game is its simplicity. On top of the ease of play, it oozes charm. The design aesthetic is perfectly whimsical, and the characters of Toad and Toadette with their little backpacks, headlamps, and tents are kind of adorable. Each level also has a secondary mode where a sticker of Toad is hidden somewhere, with the new objective being to find the sticker. I tried this game mode once or twice, but ultimately found it wasn't for me. It's basically a glorified I Spy, which isn't what I wanted from this game, but I could see how some people, especially with younger kids, would enjoy this game mode. My only real gripe with the game first appeared in episode 3. In order to unlock and play the 9th level, Minecart Ruins Rumble, I needed to have collected 100 gems. Almost every level contains 3, and at this point I only had 93, so I was forced to go replay previous levels to collect more. A minor annoyance, but not a huge deal, as the levels are small and the gems aren't too challenging to find if you're purposefully searching them out. But this kept happening. Every few levels I was forced to go back and grind more gems. Everything about Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is so approachable and friendly to new players. The levels are short, the objectives are clear, the game is visually pleasing, and the puzzles, while simple, are fun. But unless you've been proactive in collecting lots of these what I originally considered to be optional collectibles, you can't advance any further. And here's the thing, I was planning on going back and finding more gems just for fun, but I wanted to do that after I beat the game, and in my opinion, this level of gatekeeping was unnecessary. So, would I recommend Captain Toad Treasure Tracker? Absolutely, with the caveat that going in you understand it's not a platformer like mainline Mario games. If you expect that, you might actually be disappointed, but otherwise, this little puzzle game is simply delightful. So, where does that leave the final kill count? In total, as Toad and Toadette, we killed 10 Ant Troopers, 7 Biddy Buds, 17 Boos, 3 Big Boos, 9 Bullet Bills, 3 Chargin' Chucks, 17 Flapdoors, 67 Goombas, 16 Hammer Bros, 8 Mega Koopas, 40 Mud Troopers, 70 Parabiddy Buds, 5 Piranha Creepers, 15 Piranha Plants, 24 Piranha Sprouts, 4 Spikes, and 38 Shy Guys, bringing the final kill count to 353 enemies. 55 enemies were killed in Episode 1, 108 in Episode 2, 155 in Episode 3, and 35 in the first 6 bonus levels. This puts Toad and Toadette from Captain Toad Treasure Tracker in a solid 6th place, sandwiched between Annie from Wild Guns and Pax from Mushroom Men The Spore Wars. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you're interested in learning more about the trail of death left by other video game characters.